Finally, with telehealth here, I want to talk about just some best practices. We're going to get more intentional with best practices here in just a little bit. You'll have a few quiz questions and then we'll get into overall best practices. But there's some things we want to consider when we're talking about telehealth specifically. And we like to talk to say, refer to this, like to refer this about supporting the whole person, taking care of the whole person. We definitely want to mind our relationships and be very humanist when working with other people anyways. When it comes to telehealth, you're talking about healthcare, right? And so respecting someone's privacy and advocating for them on their behalf to make sure they respect their own privacy is really, really important. So just when you're working with someone to set up telehealth appointments or get them up and going, make sure they're not in a public place. Like they don't want to be accessing a telehealth appointment if they're doing some sort of video chat at like Starbucks or like someone with public Wi-Fi. Can they use headphones? Right? These are not expensive. Lowcostearbuds.com. I'm not sure if I should have actually given them a plug, but I used to use them all the time when I was a teacher. You can get really cheap headphones. They don't need to be expensive because you just need to be able to have the sound coming through somewhere private. That's what you're looking for. Oftentimes, providers have a space. If they're conferencing with someone who's a specialist from outside the area, can they actually go to their clinic? Can they go to their healthcare building to see if they can use a telehealth space and maybe their services that might be more reliable? Preparation is key. Get all their medications, get all their questions, make sure everything's set up ahead of time. That way, they're not scrambling during the actual appointment. Make sure that all the browsers are like tabs are closed. Like what you don't want are a bunch of like notice that's is that probably slowing down on you too. You don't want all these tabs open because that actually slows down your computer, especially if you're working on wireless and especially if you are working on a laptop. That those things have a tendency to be less powerful. So you want to close other applications that are running. Make sure the camera's at eye level, right? I'm actually looking a little bit up at my webcam when I am looking directly at you. And like make sure they're not like looking at the top of their head. Make sure you can hear them on the microphone. Test all of this stuff ahead of time. And then first and foremost, make sure they speak up about any problems that they're having. We haven't really touched on this a whole ton, but there does tend to be this attitude with technology about like, well, I just don't get it. Everybody else gets it. I'm the only one who doesn't understand it. So I don't want to look stupid. So I'm not going to say anything. None of us get it. I'm a tech coach and most of the time, I'm Googling the answer before I talk to the teacher, right? They email me, they ask me a question. I Google the answer first. When I'm feeling really passive aggressive, I make a video like this of me Googling the answer and I send it out to them, right? You saw in my Chrome search history up here that I made a mistake at the very beginning of this thing as I'm making these videos and I had to Google how to fix it and then I couldn't end up fixing it. So everybody makes mistakes. Nobody understands everything. So the last place that you want to be keeping quiet about things that are going wrong is a telehealth appointment. Something wrong with the audio, something wrong with the video, tell them to speak up. Tell them to tell whoever's on the other end of that call that there is something wrong because they need to have equitable access to their healthcare resources. Okay, go ahead and move on to the next page. Yeah, a couple of quiz questions. Then we're gonna get into our fourth scenario. It's a surprise. We'll see what happens. Go ahead and hit that next button.